Hi, so welcome to Breathe with Beirut. And this session is called Back to Work in 5 Steps. And this session is particularly close to my heart because it's about all of us right now are going through this weird phase of change in our work, in our career, in our business, whether you're working for yourself or in a job, especially with what is happening globally, what's happening in our individual countries, or even just our own personal evolution of where we are now and where we want to be. There's a lot of changes happening. So how can you then prepare yourself to get back into work or to get to the next level of success? In 5 simple steps so that you can control the bit that you can control, and the bit that you can't control, we don't worry about that. So I'm going to share my slides with you, and hopefully that goes seamlessly. And we will start. And let's do this. And at any point, if you, okay, well, that was not what I was going for. Let's try this. Voila, can you see my slides? You can show it, thumbs up. Fantastic, thank you. So back to work in Breathe with Beirut. So this, as I was saying, it's intended for you if you've had a break from work, perhaps going back to work, or from motherhood and taking a break from that, or a career break, whatever it is, a gap year. If you're starting a new business or you're having to reinvent yourself in a new field, if you want to turn your skills and your expertise into cash, or move into a sector where you'll be fully appreciated, and this is for you. If you're considering a career change or being forced to consider a career change, this is equally for you. And then if you're ready for your next level of success. So that's who the target is for the session. Okay, and our goal today is to be able to get back to working, to know some simple steps that you can actually implement now to get you back into working, or even to improve what you're doing already. Okay, so the goal is to feel fulfilled and purposeful, to realize confidently how to express your value, to realize your value, and then to be able to confidently express it. And also actionable steps, because we like action. I don't like things that you have to go think about. I want to be able to do it now or yesterday, right? And then, of course, at the end of the session, you're welcome to have my book, my ebook for free, and Rita will give you the details, the host. So who am I? Just a quick introduction. I'm an entrepreneur, an author and a speaker. I'm a British Ghanaian living in Cyprus. I specialize in career and mindset, so I do a lot of corporate training for various reasons, but particularly personal and professional growth. I do a radio show in London. I run Alpha Woman Club in Cyprus, and also do career and business advice in the US. That's a short introduction. So we're going to move straight to it. But as I said, if you have any questions, just let me know, put in the comments, and we'll try and make this as interactive as possible and tailored to your particular situation. So the first thing we're going to do is define success for you, because no two people have the same situation. So what does it mean to you? I can't remember whose quote this is, but someone said, some very wise person said, a success is the constant realization of a worthy ideal. Success is the constant realization of a worthy ideal. And in your context, it doesn't have to be this great, grand, I'm gonna save the world. It could be, what is success right now for me, which is, how can I make rent this month? Or how can I, for this year, increase my earnings up to 10%, whatever it is for you in your particular situation? Or how can I even start working again? Okay, so that for us will be a success, a favorable outcome, our ultimate goal, our desire. So it can be as big or as small as is relevant for you. Okay. Traditionally, the path of success has been success. You for careers at least, you want to get some money, then you want the accolades, and you want to become a professional, then you want to be known for it, and then you want to make a meaningful impact. And then at some point you want to leave a legacy in what you do. So that's the traditional path that most of my clients take, or most people take in their career. You start off with, oh wow, someone's going to pay me to do something. This is your younger years and your early careers, and then you want to be a professional and improve your craft and get recognized for it, and then make some impact. So this is what my journey has been, and I'll show you in the next few slides what my journey was. So this is the notoriety bit where it's, let's get out there, let's be as big as possible, and let's do some meaningful work with some of the big players. So that was my accolades, notoriety phase. And then impact. After the big stages, I thought, okay, I really want to work with people, look them in the eyes, and make sure that I'm helping someone on a deeper level. So then success then became impact for me. And then it keeps changing depending on where you are. So that's traditionally how it goes. But as the world is, unfortunately, you can count on mishaps happening, things that we can't control, which is pandemics and acts of God, recessions, redundancies, trend changes, personal life circumstances, and sometimes just bad luck, right? Just bad luck that we can't control. And these are the things we can't control, but they do happen. So what are the bits? We're going to focus on the bits that we can control. There you go. Winston Churchill said, never let a good crisis go to waste. And I like that. That's because it's quite empowering. You think, okay, well, what can I get out of this? So that's what we're going to do. So let's think about what success is for you. And as I said, this will be interactive. So ideally you would be writing this down for you, but if not, just let's take a minute. Let's think about this. Okay. What does a win look like for you right now? Is it, do you need a job for money? Do you need some progress and some experience? Do you need a recognition for your efforts, or the recognition as a professional? Or are you moving into a strategic role? Or are you near retirement where you want to leave a legacy, and maybe you're looking at, how can I really impact this field? And by the way, it has nothing to do with age. It just really is the stage of where you are in right now. And you might go through this cycle over and over again in different careers, or even in the same career. For people I typically work with, the first thing is they want success, or they want career success for money and recognition. And then as time goes on, their values change and they think, I really want to make a difference, and I want to have some purpose. So then they might think, oh, I'm working for example, a casino company, and actually I don't believe in gambling, so that goes against my values. And then they might be looking to change a career that way. Or lifestyle, for example, want to travel, or actually I want to focus on my family life, and therefore climbing up the ladder and working 80 hours a week isn't working for me. So it's really good to evaluate your particular situation and apply that to you. Okay, so after everything is gone to pot and you've got a blank slate, the first step will always be, what could I do? What could I do now for money, or for a career, or for a vocation? Okay, I always thought that what could I do for money is a dodgy title, but actually I quite liked it, so I left it in. So write down everything that comes to mind, right? Whether it's realistic or not. You know, maybe I could run a zoo, maybe I could speak whatever it is that excites you. This is the exciting bit, that is just a brain dump on paper. What could I do for money right now? What do you love to do? What do you do easily? What do people compliment you on? What have you just discovered during lockdown, for example, that you can do? What wouldn't you mind doing for money? All of that stuff. So the first step is to just have a list of possibilities and opportunities. And if we think about the psychological effect of that, it gets you from the stage of being stuck to, wow, I could do anything, and I could do all of these things. So that's the first step. And then we'll realize that we're going to narrow it down to at least you've got some actionable and more realistic things. But the first bit is to think as wide and far as what you can do. Our second step will be transferable skills, knowing them and then being able to sell them. So transferable skills, don't stay stuck in one industry. What I've seen most people do is think, oh, I've got 20, 30 years in this field or 10 years in this field. Therefore, that's all I've known. What else could I do? And when you think like that, it's not empowering. It doesn't help you to do stuff, to move on to another field. So what could you do? What could you do? What are some of the soft skills you've got? What have people complimented you on? So we put all of your professional skills you've gained so far, whether it's in your job or the home life, managing the budget for home or looking after the kids or sticking to schedule, whatever it is, those are all transferable skills that will be good in a different industry. So it's the second step is just write down all the skills that you've gained from your different endeavors, or even juggling a music career with running a shop, or learning how to use web tools, for example, organizing a conference and managing so many different speakers and coordinating from different countries, and how can I bring that together and put that in my CV or in my portfolio so that I can have evidence of I'm a good manager or I'm a good multitasker, whatever it is. Okay, so you really want to show, I've stressed show, not tell. A lot of people just talk, I'm a good organizer, I'm a good this, and there's no evidence to back it up. And this is why we need all of this evidence you've done. So if you say, I'm a good organizer, you can say, for example, I organized an international event with 20 speakers with 100 participants, and I coordinated the time. And that's an example of showing me that you're a good organizer rather than just telling it. And of course, mix it with your interest too. Okay, a lot of people just focus on the professional ones and they forget the interest. The interest is what makes you unique, what makes you different, what makes you special, what makes you more attractive, either to an employer or to your clients. If you're running your own business, for example, and you said, I'm a yoga teacher that has an interest in, for example, naturopathy or essential oils, they might then resonate with that. So don't be afraid to mix your interest in with your professional experience, and that gives you a wide variety of transferable skills that's unique to you, that can also be your selling point and your unique differentiator in the marketplace. Okay, and then there's EQ, emotional intelligence. So not just your skills, but also team player attitude, empathy, openness to feedback, active listening, relationship building, independent thinking, critical analysis, leadership, motivation, adaptability, all of these other skills that people need, whether in your business or in the workplace. You can show evidence of that as well. And I put here a screenshot, skills over degree, and it was just a Google screenshot to see what else employers look at. And there's a ton of other skills that people look at other than your professional accolades. So you do have a lot of skills. Make sure you showcase that. And then our third step, and this is one of my favorite bits because it's in the real world, in the context of the real world. In your context, what does that look like for you? Because there's a world of possibilities out there, but it might just not be realistic for you. So what's realistic for you? And the first thing we do is self-analysis. Okay, so what are your beliefs? If you believe that in the pandemic world, for example, nobody's buying anything, then that's where to start. Because if you believe nobody's buying anything, regardless of how much you put out anything, nobody will buy anything because you have that mindset. So this self-analysis bit is important to look into your internal workings, what works for you. Sorry, that's just a thingy coming up. And then the second thing is the career framework. And you will see in the bonus, I gave you access to my career book. And career quickly stands for cause. So what's a cause I'm passionate about? Authentic, is it really authentic to me, or has society told me this technology is the new trend to go into, therefore all of us are running to be IT engineers or coaches or whatever it is. So really understand if whatever you're aiming for is authentic to you, or if you're being influenced by society or parents or loved ones, whatever it is. R in the career acronym will stand for reason why. What's the opportunity cost of you not doing this thing now? Of you not getting back into work now or into this particular field? How much of it is a pain for you? What's a compelling reason? And you need to give yourself some compelling reasons, because that's what fuels you to do anything. If you don't have a compelling reason, you don't do anything. And then of course your environment, and that's your mental environment, the kind of books you're listening to, kind of things you're reading, news, whatever it is, or not, and the people you surround yourself with, of course. And then the other E is excitement. Does it empower you, excite you? And are you willing to put the time and effort it takes? Is it a passion of yours? You know, if you're learning to play a piano, you're practicing 10,000 hours a day, and the time goes by and you're really into it. So is it an excitement for you? And then of course, R is remuneration. There's a difference between the vocation and the avocation. And you've got to decide that if it's an avocation for you, that's fine. But we have to know that it's then not a career for you, and then you need another income source. So that's your internal mindset. And then also in your realistic world, how many hours realistically can you afford to dedicate to the career path that you want to go into, or into the job you want to go to? What kind of colleagues that are there? What kind of tasks can you do, or do you want to do? For example, I learned early on in investment banking that I did not want to stare at the screen and numbers for ages. I'm a people person. I want to talk to people, and I miss that. And I didn't want to stare at spreadsheets because I didn't understand it. So again, that's negotiables and non-negotiables for you. What are your existing skills as well? What skills have you acquired, and can you leverage that, or do you need some extra input in that? And if you do, then it's good to identify areas of professional development and start from there. And also your hobbies, can you turn them into a career as well? And then other personal constraints like your goals, the time and money that it takes, dependence that mean that you cannot just up and go and move to a different country because your career goal is to do something. So something in a different country when you've got dependence. So it's got to be as realistic as possible for you. And of course, health constraints as well. And so this is what I mean by it's so unique to you. And it's so easy for a career advisor to say, do this and do that and do this, without putting you in context. So you really have to apply it to your particular situation. And then other external constraints will be your minimum financial threshold. For example, if you've got a minimum, your bills at each month, food, essentials, come to, let's say, $1,000, then you know that you're not going anywhere. You're not going to touch any other career that doesn't give you a minimum of $1,000. Or if you start your business, at least to survive, you need $1,000. So that math needs to be done before you even go anywhere with it. Okay, and if you have access to investment, if it's a business or somebody that will support you whilst you change your career or go into a different job, or even a babysitter so that you can go out and work, whatever it is for you. Okay, and geography as well, that sometimes that's a constraint. Sometimes you're in a country where electricity, for example, isn't stable. Therefore, doing a digital job might not be the best for you. Or the internet isn't stable, okay? Or you don't have the freedom to access. I know when I was in China, there wasn't Facebook. So you can imagine if I was in China and trying to do a Facebook ads business, that wouldn't work. Oh, that's a cute cat. And then political and economic policies, okay, if there's a ridiculous exchange rate or tax or any other governmental policies that might affect it. I know that sometimes in Lebanon, sending money out or receiving money in, there's constraints around that. So does that work for you? And that will determine what sort of careers you want to do. And then of course, in the marketplace, is there a demand for your skill? Is there a demand for what you're trying to offer for your business too? Because sometimes we go with our passion and then we realize, actually, this is a nice to have, and actually people don't want to pay for it. They will get it for free for sure, but they won't invest in it. And that might just be a wording, the way you word it, but it also might be, it's just not something that people place a high value on. So again, trying to be as realistic as possible for you in your particular situation. And also the marketplace, if there's more demand for jobs than there is of supply, or vice versa, there's more supply of labor than demand for jobs, then you've got to be flexible with the salaries and what would be a realistic expectation for an employer or for your clients too. And that will determine how much you price your goods. Okay, so I'll give you an example about myself. When I started working in the career space, one of my mentors, or actually my business coach actually, she was all about the writing. You've got to write a blog, you've got to do your website, you've got to have this, and you have to write in social media all the time. And I was getting frustrated with myself because I couldn't motivate myself to write a long blog, or it just didn't sound like me, you know. And it took me a long time to figure out, actually, I'm much better in video and I prefer that. I can turn the camera on and just make it up as I go. But if I try to write something, it just sounds boring and stiff and it doesn't sound like me and it's super professional, and it just didn't work for me. So I realized early on, copying doesn't work. It has to be right for you and what your particular skill set is. Okay, so defining what happiness was then helped me to build my business in a unique way, where I was doing more videos rather than blogs and newsletters. Okay, so the fourth step of getting back into work, after we've defined our skills and we know what success means to us and we've put it into context, now we have to convince people of our skills, and we have to sell our skills, or we have to put it out there into the universe and into the ether, right? And normally, your first step will be a CV or a resume if you're looking for a job, or it'll be your business proposal, or even your advertisement if you're going to go straight into that. So the fourth step is gathering all of those into a maximum of 2 pages if you're doing a resume. So how do we do that? We have to be concise and effective with communicating outstanding profile and to get people to remember us. So definitely update your CV or resume and cover letter. You may have been in the field for so long, but at every stage, things are evolving and you need to update your profile. Even if you think I've been in the same job, your job role may have changed or evolved and you may have taken more responsibilities, or you've gained different skills, you've done some training, you may have managed someone or trained someone, and you need to include this. You know, usually when I work with people, I get them to just talk to me about what they've been doing in the last 6 months. And then I write it down, but you for them, and they realize there's a huge chunk missing in their CVs. And you can do that for yourself, really, by just, rather than trying to fit everything into a neat, tidy box in your CV, take a blank sheet. What have I done? What are the skills that I have? And put them all on paper first. And then once it's all up to date and you've said, well, during lockdown, I took part in this conference, or during the layoff time, I was able to negotiate hours, and therefore that's a skill for me. You really want to be able to put all of that into your resume so that you can convince someone else that you've got these skills to be able to do the next job, or to convince someone that you're the right person and they need to hire you or hire your business for whatever it is. And that includes your LinkedIn, your biographies, LinkedIn or LinkedIn equivalent. I know it's different. There's a different focus for different countries, but also your website or your portfolio, which is spelled, portfolio is spelled wrong there, but we're gonna ignore that. Also on Google and on your social media. And when we talk about social media, of course you have Facebook, LinkedIn, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, but also the reviews that you do online, you know, for your Airbnbs and your TripAdvisor, all of that is your presence online. Whether it's your Pinterest boards, whatever you've put your name on and signed into account on, and people forget that, because when you're Googled, all of these come up. So if there's anything that you want to keep private, for example, you may have been doing research for, I don't know, some torture, animal torture, or whatever it is, and you've written a review or whatever it is on there, you might want to make that private, or you might want to go and delete those profiles so people don't find anything on you online that you don't want associated with your brand and your profile. So that's definitely do an audit, a Google audit of yourself online and your profile and your business name, what comes up. Google yourself. And then extras to make an outstanding profile is, again, what personal experiences have you gone through and what have you learned from it? So I love it when people say, I grew up in a family of 8 and I learned to delegate and to manage, or to make do with little resources. Or I went through a war and we learned this and that from it. It makes it personal. It makes it real life situations. Employers love that. And of course, your clients love that too, because it helps to build that relationship, that personal relationship with them that you normally wouldn't get, and will be different from everybody else that's selling to them or marketing to them. So demonstrate your resilience, your communications, your negotiation, all of that in your profile. Also your personal values, your tone and voice. What do you believe in? Personally, I spoke about cause in the How to Career. That really helps to show an employer that you're a good fit, or to show a client that you're a good fit to work together. So definitely demonstrate your personal values. Also the tone of voice really helps. In your written prose, I was talking about how when I write, I sound very stiff and corporate, because that's apparently how I've learned to write. But the tone of voice I would perhaps want to project is more of a real, down to earth, let's do this approach. So it's in your copy, your website copy or your CV, you really want to have that tone right so people can have a good feeling of the kind of person they're going to meet. Because imagine if you had all the big words and the dictionary words, and then they met you and you didn't use any of it. You really want your personality online to match your offline personality. And it's the same with your style and your brand as well. They all have to be coherent for people to know, like, and trust you. Okay, I'm gonna wrap up. And then finally, networking opportunities. When you're trying to get back into work, of course, the first thing most people do is look on job boards and look at what's advertised in the marketplace, and then tailor their CV. Hopefully, tailor their CV. Some people don't even do that, but tailor your application to that. But also, what else can you do? And we all know to do that. So I'm not going to go into detail about that because that's the common stuff. What I want to go is the other way to do it, to access the hidden job market where it's not even advertised, or to even negotiate yourself into a job or create a role for yourself. So market your value and leverage in your network, because we all know people, and don't discount who you know and the value they may have on you. So how to get seen by the right people. Okay, so let's, did not want to do that. Right, let's do this. So identifying the key players where that will be useful for your goal. So for example, if you're looking for a job for money, then anyone who is recruiting will be a key player for you. If you're looking to break into a particular field, then maybe someone who works in advertising might be able to give you a hand into that field. So really let's be strategic about who we need to network with. Okay, and don't discount anyone. Ask your hairdresser, ask your gym, your personal trainer. Tell people what you're looking for, because they might not be the right person, but they might know someone, or they may have heard something. And most often we don't even say that to our friends. Our friends don't know that we're looking for a job, or they don't know that we provide this service, and until you mention it to someone, they won't know. Sometimes we're told to brand ourselves and be niche. So for example, if I say I'm a career expert, and therefore if someone's looking to build a business, they might not necessarily think of me because I've said I work in careers, and I haven't explained and spoke about the scope in which that covers. So really just have those conversations and talk to anyone and everyone who will listen about what you're looking to do. And then also to build influence and authority, we'll start looking at publishing content, being seen in the right places, and also some credibility pieces that would really help your goal. And then also accessing high-level networks and events now. Now everything is online. There's so many free passes to so many rooms that normally we wouldn't have access to. And you really need to leverage that. There's a VIP pass to online boardrooms. Yesterday, there was World Entrepreneurship Day for Women, and it had representatives of the UN anywhere, you know, and all of these people are people that you can now network and are within reach, and you didn't have to travel to New York to do that. You know, so really accessing these stages online and offline, you know, will really help you to able to network and to be able to attract the right clientele or attract the job opportunities that you're looking for. I'll give you an example of Danny, who was a client of mine. I call her Shy Danny, but literally Danny doesn't talk to anybody. She has this beautiful jewelry collection that is all handmade. She only employs women. They're all ethically sourced and they're all her own designs, and she designs them and makes them herself. But she just couldn't talk to people about it. So in one of the exercises, we went to this hotel, and one of the exercises was I would pick someone out in the lobby, and she had to engage them in a conversation for 2 minutes and tell them what she does. And she had to find a way to slip it into a conversation, right? Like just whatever they said, she would say, "Oh, well, have you seen this beautiful jewelry I'm wearing? I make it and it's sourced from whatever." And we did that a couple of times, just one, to get her talking to people, but two, to just get used to talking about what she does and creating those opportunities for people to know what she does. And she ended up getting a trade fair. The guy knew someone who runs a trade fair in New York to do a jewelry expo. And that was just an example, a random example. And I'm still in touch with that person today. You know, the guy that we met at the the hotel lobby, because we ended up talking and after exchanging details. And that was just an example of, you just never know who you're talking to or who has connections to what you're looking for. So that's another way to get yourself out there. Voila, so we've spoken about what career success means for you. And then we've spoken about what transferable skills that you can use and where you can draw these transferable skills from. We've spoken about how to put them into context in your world situation right now. And that may change from time to time, so you can adapt to this as it changes. And then how to make it more succinct and into 2 pages that you can leverage all of these external skills and network your way into getting back into work. And if you only do one thing from this, I really want you to write a "this is why I'm hot" list. Okay, like this is everything that will give you confidence, or everything that you can do that makes you unique, makes you a unique individual, makes you the best person for the job. Whether it's I'm friendly, I'm always smiling, I love music, or things come, I learn easily, whatever it is. I'm a great mother, I'm a great spouse, whatever it is, but write a "this is why I'm hot" list, because this is a confidence booster. This shows you that you have so much to offer to the world and you've learned so much. All of the courses you've done, you can add that on there. All of the courses you've done, every podcast that you've listened to, any speeches that you've understood, any sort of continuous personal and professional development that you've done in your own space. You may have watched a documentary on the environment and maybe research a bit about that. Those all go on into your "this is why I'm hot" list, so that in an interview or when you're speaking to a potential client, you can draw on all of these skills to boost yourself and convince yourself that you have the skills and the expertise it takes to do the job and to do a great job and to deliver the best possible result for them. Okay. Finally, don't forget your bonus. You're welcome to have a copy of the ebook, How to Create It's a bestseller on Amazon at the moment. And of course, you can email me directly, lindapallien@gmail.com, or Rita, the organizer of this event, will be able to pass you on the link to that. If you have any questions, I haven't been looking at the chats, but if you have any questions, now's the time, or I'm going to look at the chats now so that we can discuss them. And don't forget that you're awesome and you have a lot of skills. Let's talk. That's my contact details again. Forgot about that slide. And yes, and you can finally get the career, credibility, recognition, pay that you deserve, whatever it is you're looking for to get back into working and to get into the professional space. It's definitely within your reach, and you just need to know how to express that to be able to get that. And voila. Any questions at all? Or was that really quick? Was that Maya, did that meet your expectations that you didn't have?
I'm wondering, like, is most of the work you do kind of corporate? Or
it's both. It's both. I do a mix of corporate and personal. I like the personal coaching or consulting because it's tailored.
So this all applies to non-corporate?
Yes, majority of it is actually non-corporate, because normally when I'm working with corporates, they have a particular agenda about specific training needs, so you don't get to work with the staff individually on their personal goals.
Mm-hmm. Nice. Yeah, it's interesting.
Thank you, Hamseed. Hamzest? I hope I got your name right.
Until today, I cannot pronounce her name right. I don't know. Hamest. Hamo. Hamo.
Hamo. Fantastic.
Yeah, short. Hamo is her short. So Hamo. We'll call you Hamo.
She actually put it in brackets for us.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah. In this current climate, I think this topic is really important because everyone's facing uncertainty, especially when we're talking about Lebanon. It's having gone from frying pan to fire, from pandemic to then just escalating the situation. So it's an important topic to be able to know what you can control and the things that you can't control. And I always like to focus on what you can control, because you can always control showing up online somewhere else, or you can always control talking to other people and getting some extra income some other way possible. You know, so if we're able to identify the bits we can control, it's easy for us then to go out and then solicit that.
Thank you. That was very interesting.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Thank you for joining and listening and for engaging as well. I always love that. I'm always appreciative of that. And Marina, you had a beautiful smile all throughout, and that was really helpful.
Thank you for the session. You gave me ideas. I'm not an employee, but you gave me some new ideas since we're locked down. So
true.
To start something new, maybe.
Yeah, it's always applicable to employees. I think we don't realize that. Well, pretty much an employee is selling their time and their skills, and an entrepreneur is selling their skills and their time. So we're doing the same thing. It's just in a different. The money comes in a different way, pretty much, I guess.
Maybe not for money, but at least to do something useful, more useful.
Yeah.
So thank you for the ideas.
Pleasure. My pleasure. How did you get on?
So much. Well, actually, I have a lot to think about right now because I'm like, I'm not so active on social media, and it's like when you said let yourself be seen, I'm like the opposite of that. I'm like always, I'm not seen anywhere, you know. So I'm like thinking about it. Got me thinking. Yeah. Thank you
And
anyway.
my pleasure. Social media definitely isn't for everyone. And depending on what you're offering, you may find that you may not need to be on social media, or you can be on social media, but under a name. So for example, if I'm going to use the True Vegan Body. I don't even need to see who's behind that. For example, if I saw a post about the True Vegan Body, and I saw things about their ethos, so she might put veganism isn't about starving yourself, like just a post, and then the True Vegan Body, then I know that, oh, okay, they're not going to make me starve myself, or they're not another diet person. So you can be seen without physically being seen. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm
And then,
wondering about the example you gave, the shy
yeah,
lady.
yeah,
So like, wasn't it, won't you say that it's like, it's her character is, she's introvert, she's not really communicating, and then okay, so by chance it did work and she met someone who could help her, but I'm wondering, like, for the next steps, because she's always gonna be this person. I don't think she's gonna change and
yes,
be, So
yes,
in
you're
this case, what, she needs to hire people to do that job for her, or yeah, I got it. Okay.
exactly that. You can get
Yeah,
people that have complementary skills to you, and
yeah,
or outsource what you don't want to do, and then they will do that. So identifying who's the better fit for you. For example, I'm not the most organized person on the planet. So when I'm recruiting for an assistant, they have to be super anally organized. Because if I recruit someone else that's just like me, we're just gonna all be up in the air. I'm a creative person, but I'm not an analytical person. So you sort of need that complement. And if you're shy, you sort of need somebody who wants to talk about your services and your offerings all the time, or just is going to be your brand ambassador for you, and is going to put themselves out there. So then you might have to prioritize that, or you might want to think, I want to show up in this way. If your customers aren't on social media, then you might think, well, they read this magazine, and therefore I'm going to be present in that magazine. And then it doesn't matter if you're on social media.
thank you.
My pleasure.
So I have a question. When
Yes.
you throw someone like Danny into the wolves being shy, and you ask her to, to stand up and go and talk to someone, that exercise, just to, like, for what Rula said, she's always going to be shy, but in what I see is like that woman that you pushed her once, you pushed her twice, you pushed her 3 times, she might change, because we change, right?
Yeah,
And she might change and become someone who does go forward, and no, it's not,
yeah, definitely. That's
unless
the
she doesn't want to do it, sorry, unless she doesn't want to do it, okay, that it's a different story.
yeah. And I've had both situations, and we talk about. Funny enough, Denny is a real is a real case study, and twice she's actually walked out on me because I pushed her too far.
Okay,
Where I've said, "Get up and do this," and she's like, "I'm not doing it," and she's gone.
bye bye.
Exactly. And it's like the session's over, right? So it depends. But if they've said this is what they want to do, and I've got their permission to do that, then I can push them. If it's not what they want to do, then of course they can have other people that do that for them. But I've had people who were, I think you saw in one of the live events I did, that I had someone who was very shy and not a public speaker, and again pushed in that extreme way, and now she is a public speaker, you know, and I couldn't believe it when I saw her speaking. I thought, wow. I was just like, this is amazing, completely a different person to who I was coaching that wouldn't even go up to one person, and now
Yeah,
stands
that's what I. Yeah, that's
no
what I
knows
mean.
I'm talking. Yeah. So I think it depends on the level of comfort, and also the why. The why is really important. If, for example, and that's why I said it depends on circumstance. If your kids are starving and you
Yeah,
need to get there to talk to someone to get them to buy your products, you will.
yeah,
And if
yeah,
you're a little bit comfortable, then it's not a huge why for you. And that all of that is perfectly fine either way. But you have to understand where you are at, you know, in your particular circumstance.
yes, yes, yes. Thank you.
Yeah. That's a really good question. Thank you. I mean, they've all been very good questions. It makes me think too. I saw Antonio just briefly before he disappeared on camera.
Antoinette, I don't know the name. I let her in, but and then I see the face. I haven't seen her before. I don't remember the name. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. I don't remember the name signing up. So
Right.
yeah, that was an interesting talk. It's always interesting to learn about ways to do things, you know, and to learn and move forward.
Mm. Mm. And how are the other sessions? Like, are we relating it all?
You
I
know,
like how
yes,
diverse it
yes, yes. You know what? The 5 o'clock session that Maya, I remember you were saying you were wondering how the what time is it? Oh, we have 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You were wondering about the what I was gonna say about the emigrate or not. Remember the session for 5 o'clock? So she was talking about actually career as well. She talked about career when you leave, whether you leave or not. So yes, you are. All the sessions are actually going into this, coming back into the same subject, kind of
Mm. Mm.
like helping people in almost the same way, you know.
Yeah.
The questions are raising that are being raised are going into the same. I mean, from the same people, from people that are coming from the same place.
Yeah, I think what we forget is we have all of these categories of personal professional development, but then
Yeah,
it's the same
yeah,
person,
yeah,
you
yeah.
know. So and again, like if I'm working with someone, they under normal circumstances, they're job hopping, you'll realize that they probably can't keep the same partner as well, you know, and they exhibit the same traits in different areas of their lives, you know. So then we're talking now about relationship coaching, you know, rather than careers. And again, if they're really anxious, and we need to do the healing and the meditation to be able to breathing, for example.
Yeah.
Breathing is super important because then it helps with your anxiety, which helps with your confidence of communicating.
Yeah.
You know, so if I say like, why are we doing breathing for careers? Because can you talk? Or if you're talking, you're not, as an interview, you're not introducing yourself confidently, because perhaps you're not breathing right, or from your stomach rather than from your lungs. So you've got a shallow breath, which means that you don't project yourself confidently enough.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so that it's all related.
It's all related, yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
With pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. This is
Oh.
by far my favorite thing I've done this week.
Thank you for being with us. Thank you everyone for joining.